Hey guys, Cast72 here. Hope everyone's doing well. Today I just wanted to go over a real quick video on the Tello app that you can download from either the Google Play Store or the App Store on iOS. Now, the reason why I say quick video is because really guys, if you just follow the guide on this application, um, you would pretty much know everything there is to the app and all its features. But I'll just go over it with you a little bit more in detail, just to give you a rundown. So when you first open up the application, you're going to be presented with this screen. I'm not going to connect my Tello guys because there's really no need. It really, this is just explaining the application and the features within the application. We're not going to do any flying, so basically there's really no need to connect the drone. And most of this stuff can be explained without connecting to the drone anyway, so let's continue. So first of all, you'd come to this screen. It explains how to connect. You'd power on your Tello. You would connect through it through Wi-Fi, and then you would open up the Tello app. And by opening the Tello app would be when you hit the connect to Tello. Now, if you happen to forget your password on the bottom lower of the screen, if you click on that, it'll basically tell you that by default the Tello has no Wi-Fi, which later on in the settings I'll show you that you can change that. You can change the SSID name, and you can also change to having a password, but by default it does not. So if you come across any issues, and let's say you're not making connections, it's just, it's not working for you, you basically just hold down the power button on the Tello for 5 seconds and it'll reset everything back to default. Um, so that's that. So once you connect Tello, when you hit that button or when you click on that part of the screen, it'll bring you to your Wi-Fi. Basically, it would show up. You'd click to that, and then you'd come back to your application, and you'd be connected. So then at that point, you'd be presented with this screen. Now on this screen, starting from top left, working our way to the right, that's going to be your takeoff button, and basically you would slide it to the right, and the drone would take off. Next to that are going to be your features, your flight modes, um, which you've got circle, throw and go, 8D flips, up and away, 360, and bounce mode. Now I'm just giving you the names of those features, but if you want a brief summary of what each one does, if you look below that, it explains. So like I said, very, very informative. They didn't, honestly, when I went through this app, I knew everything about it within just minutes. I mean, it's not a learning curve, put it that way. It's very simplified. So going to the right of that, if you click that little settings or that toggle wheel there, this is offering you more options. You can fly in either slow or fast. If you happen to fly fast, keep in mind your battery will drain pretty quickly, so I always go slow. If you have a VR headset, you would click on that. That would bring the VR screen up. So that way you can actually see yourself flying in VR, which I think is pretty cool. Um, if you go below that, the Bluetooth controller settings, that's if you were to connect your Bluetooth controller that they sell separately for the Tello drone. And below that, in blue, if you look to the bottom right, it says game controller diagram. I think that's pretty awesome because it explains everything in detail, what each button does on the controller. That's pretty cool. And then below that, you have how to connect a Bluetooth controller, and it also explains how to do that as well. So like I said, guys, it's like they just made everything so simplified. If you go to your Wi-Fi, this is where I was telling you earlier, you can change the Wi-Fi name, and you can even give it a password. And then, of course, if you happen to forget your password, or you can, like I said, reset it by holding the power button on the Tello for about 5 seconds, and it'll reset to default where there is no password, and it just automatically connects. And then below that, where it gets a little bit more interesting, where you hit the more button. Now I'll come back to the beginner guide because that'll ruin my video if I do that. I'll explain why in a minute. So under more, you can change your measurement system from metric to imperial. Your photo quality from high to normal. I set mine to high. Your low battery warning, which you can set it anywhere from 10 to 50%. It just depends on what you feel comfortable with. Your stick mode, if you click on that, it explains what they mean by mode 1 and mode 2 simply by looking at the diagram. Mode 1 will be your left, mode 2 will be your right. The only difference is the toggle controls switch. So on the left, on the left, you would have your forward and back to the left, and your turn left and turn right to the right. And on the opposite side, the right diagram, it would be the opposite. Very simplified. The below that is your EV settings. It goes anywhere from -3 all the way up to +3. Your bit rate, you can either set it to auto. I always set mine to 4 megabytes because the bit rate at that point gives you a little bit more better quality in video and also photos. This setup right here is how I set mine up when I fly. So moving on, below the left side icon, we're going to go down to the 3 little dots. This is going to be your calibration. So if you wanted to calibrate the Tello, you would go ahead and explain here how to do it. You would hit start. I won't be able to do it now because I'm not connected, but it's very simple. The diagram shows you exactly what way to face the drone to do the calibration, and basically it's just resting it on all 4 sides, which is the what I mean by side is the circumference outside area of the drone. That'll calibrate it. What was I going to say? Yeah, a key point I want to make here is if you're going to keep calibrating the drone, maybe you're moving from one location to another and you want to calibrate it. Here it tells you to take the propellers off. I wouldn't suggest that, only because I've calibrated mine with the propellers on and I've had no issues whatsoever. If you want to take the propellers off, you got to think about it. These propellers are only meant to come on and come off a certain amount of times. The more you do it, they're not going to hold on the motors and they're going to keep falling off on you during flight. So I wouldn't suggest that, but it's up to you. I just don't do it. I calibrate it with the propellers on. Next to that, if I was connected to the drone, you would do your center of gravity calibration. Again, very self-explanatory. Below that, it gives you your firmware version. Mine's not showing up because basically I'm not connected. However, if I wasn't connected and there was a firmware update, at this point you would hit start and it would automatically start uploading the new firmware. But in this case, it's not finding any because mine's already updated. And then shortly after that, you would connect to the drone, hit start, and then it would update the Tello with the newest firmware. And then it'll tell you your app version, your RISE tech support, and lastly the Tello device serial number that you need to register to activate. Don't ask me why, that's just the way it is. And then going back up, I want to show you guys something where you click get help. I think this is pretty cool because you can chat with them, live, or you can submit your name and email. And I mean, I just think the support page is pretty damn good. And let's see what else we got here. Did we leave anything out? Nope, that covers everything. Like I said, guys, it's going to be a short video. And then to the right of that, you're going to have your battery icon, and well, here, let's do this. I didn't want to spoil the video because if I do this, you're pretty much going to already know everything about this app. So if you were to go to more, go to the beginner guide. This is all you really need to follow, guys, and you'll know everything about the app. So sliding to the left, it tells you what the toggles are and how they work in flight. If you click to the left, it'll tell you what we were about to talk about, which is the icons in the center of the screen. So from left to right, it's your battery, your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth. That's if you were connected with the controller, and then your speed and your height. And to the left of that, it tells you what each icon means. Obviously, we went over it already. The far left is takeoff and land. Next to that is your flight modes. Third to that is your settings. Fourth to that is your playback. Fifth to that is your switch between photo and video mode. And lastly, the take pictures or start and stop recording. And slide to the left. If you enter at this point, it tells you what flight modes you have and what each one does with a small little description on the bottom of the screen. And you slide to the left, it tells you how to detach or install the propeller guards. I take mine off simply because of the fact that I kind of reduce the weight to get more flight. If you're just beginning and you don't feel comfortable flying without them, just leave them on. Your choice. And then here's where they explain to you how to replace or disconnect the propellers with that little tool that they give you, which is included in the package. So yeah, if you just follow that guide, you pretty much already, this guide summarizes everything I'm explaining in detail. So very good to have that. And you can always come back to it if you happen to forget something. Where did we leave off? Oh yes. So if you hit the play button on the right, we're working our way towards the right. That basically just shows you the photos you've taken and the videos you've taken. It gives you the option to select them, and when you select them, you can download them, delete them, whatever you want to do with those. And then to the right of that, you have you can either activate the camera or activate the video recorder. And I don't have the drone connected, but if you were to click on this on the far right button right now, you would see the lens close. There you go. If you didn't catch it, I'll do it again and one more time. That's what you would get if you took a snapshot. If you were to click it over to record for video and then click that same button, you would no longer get the lens closing. You would actually get a red dot blinking, a red dot indicating that white circle would turn red, indicating you're recording. Not only that, on the screen you would start seeing your recording time. And then to stop it, you would just click it again. And in all honesty, guys, that's everything. That summarizes the entire app for the Tello, which I think is extremely easy. No hard learning curve. It's very simplified. And just like the drone, that it's fascinating and awesome, so is the application. So hope you guys find this useful, and appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Peace out.